This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 28th day of December in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The largest party in the coalition government, the People's National Congress Reform, today accused the opposition of colluding with Trinidadian forces and others to successfully bribe a member of parliament on the government side to vote in favor of the no-confidence motion. PNCR Executive Member Aubrey Norton led a press conference hosted by his party this afternoon at Congress Place and said the party has information and the evidence that highlights a conspiracy and plans to bribe a member of parliament. The opposition PPP, through its leader Barra Jagdeo, has been calling on the government to resign immediately with the passage of the no-confidence motion. However, the government has said that it is examining a number of legal and other options related to the outcome of the vote. This afternoon, Aubrey Norton said that PPP is trying to have its way with its obsession with power.
It should be noted that Charandas Prasad himself acknowledges the bribery by asking, "What is wrong if I get paid?" In his own words, he has admitted his embrace to the treacherous PPP culture of getting rich through corruption and lawlessness. The Guyanese people have seen through this plot, and there is no doubt that in any elections the PPP will be defeated by an APNU plus AFC government.
Asked about whether he has irrefutable evidence that points to bribery as being the reason behind Charandas Prasad's vote, Norton said the party is in receipt of the information and knows of the meetings at hotels in Trinidad.
It is now elusively clear that Jagdeo's obsession of wanting to control the wealth of Guyana that will emanate from oil is indicative of one who is irrational, treacherous, and willing to do anything to achieve his selfish objectives. It is for this reason he colluded with forces in Trinidad and mobilized resources to bribe a sitting member of parliament in pursuance of his hunger for wealth and power, with the hope that the APNU AFC government will not be able to prosecute him and his former ministers who have criminally pillaged Guyana's treasury. There are a number of legal arguments and precedent cases that are out there that are being looked at. For us as a party to arrive at a conclusion without it probably even getting to the court where the matter is looked at and the law is determined would be a bad thing for us to do. What we have seen out there is a number of legal opinions which can carry it in any direction. We cannot decide which direction it goes. We can say at this stage that we are disposed to looking at all options, and if checking the mathematical numbers in the law court is one, then so be it.
Mr. Norton said the government and the People's National Congress Reform are looking at various options, and many party members have been putting forward their own thoughts on what should be done. He said what he knows is that if there is a move for elections to be held, the coalition is ready. More news coming up in just a moment.
Get ready to ride it, ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe, drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild, catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong, come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection. Wave,
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
Welcome back. When the National Assembly reconvenes next Thursday, the opposition PPP is likely to be absent. That's according to the leader of the party, Bara Jagdeo, who told reporters this afternoon that the PPP will not be attending any other parliamentary sitting unless the Assembly is meeting to discuss preparations for elections.
And I've made it clear that the People's Progressive Party will not go back to the National Assembly excepting for the purpose, any purpose relating to the conduct of elections. No other business.
Mr. Jagdeo is of the opinion that the government should resign and take on a caretaker role as the country prepares for elections in 90 days. This afternoon, he met with representatives of the British, American, Canadian, and European Union missions in Guyana, and he told them that he believes the government ought to resign from office at this stage. He said the government is throwing away any possibility of goodwill between itself and the opposition, with all the talk about possible moves to the court to reverse the decision of the National Assembly.
You cannot then return to the National Assembly as though nothing happened to do to pass routine bills and to pass, carry on with the routine, the other functions of the government. You now are there in a caretaker responsibility. Article 106.7 says you now have to have elections within 3 months. So I can envisage a need to convene the Parliament for the purpose either of passing laws relating to elections, if GCOM needs those laws for the fair conduct of elections, or alternatively, should there be an agreement to shift the timeline.
The opposition leader said he believes once the Parliament meets to deal with legislative issues, it will be doing so illegally.
That would be an illegal sitting as far as we're concerned. Any business, anything passed in that period, in this kind of situation, if the government were to persist with this, then that will not be recognized. We will not recognize anything that they pursue or do in the Parliament, excepting those related to the conduct of elections.
Mr. Jagdeo said the government should not be returning to the National Assembly as if nothing has happened and to carry on with the other functions of the government. Let's tell you now that in a strongly worded 12-page statement, the Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union, GAWU, is urging acceptance of the no-confidence vote against the President David Granger administration. Last Friday, opposition leader Bara Jagdeo piloted the no-confidence motion against the government in the National Assembly. Mr. Jagdeo succeeded in soliciting the support of Government Member of Parliament and former Alliance for a Change member Charandas Prasad, who voted in support of the motion. GAWU, whose President Kamal Chand is a member of the PPP and sits in Parliament as its representative, deemed the passage of the motion as successful. President Granger has said the government will abide by the stipulations which have been imposed on it by the Constitution, although the government is also examining legal options. The Sugar Workers Union, which represents about 7,500 workers, urged that the verdict of the motion be accepted.
While we noted pronouncements by His Excellency President David Granger, among other government officials, the national and regional elections would be held in keeping with the constitutional requirement. We see too some persons offering different views. The GAU has seen from news reports that the administration is considering actively a court challenge regarding the no confidence motion despite its utterances. The successful passage of a no confidence motion was yet another manifestation of our nation's cherished democratic culture and values.
With regards to its possible alignment to a political party or parties, the union says it will be staying clear.
We are concerned about the political parties. We had promises before and they were not fulfilled. We are meeting at our Union General Council this morning, and we have this matter to discuss, how we shall treat with it, whether we consider meeting with the political parties to have the different political parties that will be contesting the elections as to their agenda, program for dealing with the sugar industry.
GAU says right now its interest is the welfare of its members. While the fatalities on the country's roadways continue to climb, a truck driver became the latest victim this morning when he lost control of the truck he was driving and toppled into a trench. The two occupants were seriously injured. The dead man has been identified as Travis Isaac. The names of the injured men were given as Aki McPherson and Curtis Elliott. Travis Isaacs was driving a sand truck on the northern side of the Myconi Road when he lost control while making a turn as he was driving fast. The vehicle toppled off the road and ended up in a trench. The driver and the other two occupants were pulled from the truck and rushed to the hospital. The driver was pronounced dead on arrival, while the other two occupants were treated for various injuries. A probe of the accident is ongoing. And in the courts, a fourth suspect was today named and charged in the murder of that border market cheese vendor. 20-year-old Stabrook Market vendor Nia John appeared in court this morning and was slapped with a murder charge. It is expected that his charge will be joined to the charge that the other three suspects are facing. Appearing before the chief magistrate today, the accused was not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charge. The court was told that on the 15th of August at Robb Street border, he colluded with others in the shooting of cheese vendor Troy Romalo during a robbery attempt. It was explained that the cheese vendor was plying his trade when he was surrounded by a group of men who demanded his jewelry. When he put up a fight, he was shot as the men ran from the scene. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight and this week. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.